Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today we're going to be going over a few products that I purchased recently, and these are going to be tools and kind of accessories that I need for around the shop and garage. So I really hope you guys enjoy. I will try to have all of these products linked down in the description for you guys, so if you guys are interested, it's all there for you. I also have two additional links that says tools and tools continued. Those are going to be tools that I've went over in the past, my Amazon tool deal videos, things like that. It's a long list of things, so you guys can go ahead and check that out if you want. I will also try and give you prices on the items that I purchased. Some of these were on Amazon, some of them were at Lowe's. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first few items are going to be accessories, and then we'll move into the couple tools that I picked up. So first up, if you guys follow the channel, you guys know that I do a decent amount of wiring. I'm not sure, I don't post a whole lot of wiring videos, at least in-depth wiring videos, but like the Camaro project, I've redone all of the wiring on it. I've done a lot of accessories and things on the trucks and all of my vehicles in the past. So I've done, like, as far as my truck, I've done 4 ditch lights, bed lighting, custom bed lighting, LEDs throughout the entire vehicle, inverter in the bed of the truck, a winch installed, a lot of miscellaneous small, accessories, fog lights, tons of things. But I go through a lot of wiring and wiring accessories, so I like to pick up whatever I can find that's a good deal, that's also good quality. I like to go with oxygen free copper, try to stay away from copper clad aluminum, but it all depends on kind of my budget at the time and what I'm kind of doing with that circuit, what's going on it. Is it for audio, is it for lights, is it what kind of circuit I'm building. And this is a new one to me. This one's from Kimbluth. It's marine cable. It is oxygen-free copper. It is tinned, though, for kind of exterior use. So anything that's kind of in the environment, it should hold up a little bit better. And I picked up some 10 and 12 gauge. I believe the 12 gauge was around $16 for this set, and then $16 or $17 for this set, and then $20 or $21 for this set. So copper clad aluminum can save you some money, but depending on what you're working on, I believe it's worth it to go with the oxygen-free copper. So this is a new one to me. Not sure how well that's picking up. It's not really printed on there all that well, but it's 10 feet of each. I keep a lot of wiring in my toolbox of different, colors and different size or different gauges. So this is just something I was running low on and tried this one out as far as this brand, because I thought the pricing was pretty decent at the time. So once again, I'll have these linked down in the description. Each one of these will have its own independent link, so it's easy to find. Next up is something that I've been picking up for, the last almost 8 years. What we have here are various products from Alex Tech. As you can see here, this is just the brand that I've always purchased it from, because I've had good luck, so I didn't, stray away from it. But it is nylon sleeving, and I have 2 different types here. This is, you can get it in multiple different colors, but this is the nylon braided with the red and black. I use a lot of this for accent. Anything that's kind of seen in the vehicle, or that could be seen, I like to use this. Or this. This one is just for a little bit of accent coloring. You can get it in straight black, you can get it black and blue, white, many different colors, and many different sizes as well. This is 3/8 inch. This is the non-split loom. This is best for when you're kind of building a circuit where you don't have to, when you don't already have the ends on it. It is expandable, and you simply slide it over the wiring. I like to use this when I'm building, because then I can put the ends on afterwards and not have to worry about trying to fit this over any parts of the circuit. So I always keep a decent amount of this on hand and in various different sizes, but I was running very low. Actually, I think I was all out of 3/8, and so I picked that up. And then you have the split sleeve. All of this is going to be the same, just different diameters. And I absolutely love this stuff. It's way better than that plastic loom protector or sheathing, whatever you want to call it, that becomes extremely brittle and basically breaks into a million pieces in your engine bay. This can be used indoor, outdoor, whatever, whether you're using it for extension cables or TV cable, in your house for surround sound, whatever, you can use it. It also, cats don't like this stuff. I guess. So that's really nice. Keep your cat from chewing on your cables. But I use this a lot in my engine bay and stuff. Not only does it protect it, but it looks much, much better than the plastic loom. And it's very easy to install with that split loom. And as soon as you release it, it wants to go back. So it wraps around the cables nicely. It expands. You can make it nice and tight. And then I always like to just run a piece of heat shrink on the end. Usually I don't have to run any zip ties or anything unless I have maybe an extra wire in a certain size that I should have probably stepped up to the next size, but I didn't. Sometimes I'll run a zip tie then, or if I have like a wire come out midway, like if a wire separates and goes somewhere else, then I'll run a zip tie on each end just so that one wire that strays away and goes to a different location doesn't pull the sheathing open or anything like that. But this stuff is really nice. It even comes with a little information card. Oh, they do include it. Prevent cats from chewing cables. Helps organize cables for your computer, TV, anything like that, automotive related. It's got good heat resistance. I haven't had any issues with it melting or anything like that, and I have some of it running, pretty close to my exhaust, and this stuff just works really, really nicely. So I got 3 different sizes just because I like to keep a decent amount on hand. And all of that Alex Tech stuff is very affordable. It's like $6 to $15 for 10 to 15 feet. And it also depends on the size that you get it in. So it's all quite affordable though. So definitely something to consider if you're doing any rewiring and you want to get rid of some of that old busted up plastic shrouding. And then next up, so this is what I keep on hand a lot. I actually do a lot of soldering when I do mine, but I always keep these on hand, and these aren't the greatest whatsoever. The plastic can become brittle and actually break even when just crimping them. So I use these kind of as a last resort. Like, I especially moved away from butt connectors like this just because I like to use my solder butt connectors because they're heat shrink and they seal so much better. Every once in a while I'll need to dig in here, and most of the time I simply just remove the plastic and just use the connection itself. But this is a cheaper set, and so this is just kind of my backup to my backup. But I did want to pick up some heat shrink ones. So I picked up these and I'm going to try them out. I am rewiring my toggle switches, which run in series. So I have jumpers from one toggle to the next toggle to the next toggle. And they all just have your standard connectors on them like this. And these are probably the only location in my Camaro that still has cheaper connections like this. And I just want to do it a little bit nicer. That's also another reason I got the 10 and 12 gauge wiring, so I can redo those jumpers. And I want to use something like this because right now, connected to the toggles, these are just bare and open, and I have electrical tape around some of them, and I hate that. It looks janky, and so I could simply just, throw some heat shrink up in there. But I'm going to give these a shot since I want to rewire that section of the car anyways. So I just got the Spade connections, the male and female Spade connectors. So I'm going to give these a shot, but here you can kind of see everything included. It's a 220 piece set, and this set ran $18. So not cheap, but not expensive. I think it's a good amount for a little bit better quality stuff, as I say that. So I think it's a little bit better quality stuff over this. Plus I like how this is heat shrink built in, so I can just simply heat it up after the fact. It's going to protect the Spade cover from making contact with any of the others that are in a very close proximity to this, and then it's also going to heat shrink onto the cable itself. So I think I'm going to enjoy that a little bit more than these connectors, but it's in a tight area in my center console where soldering would just kind of be a pain, so that's why I'm going that route with these, just upgrading it a little bit. Then next up, if you guys follow the channel, you guys already know this is something that I've been using the last couple years, and I just mentioned just recently. These are some of my absolute favorites when it comes to wiring. This is a new brand. A lot of companies sell the exact same stuff. I still have a case in my toolbox. I just like to keep a lot on hand because I run through them, and I was out of my larger gauge butt connectors, running low on the yellows or the 12 to 10 gauge butt connectors. And so you're going to get whites, which are 26 to 24 gauge, the reds that are 22 to 18 gauge, the blues that are 16 to 14 gauge, and then the yellows that are 12 to 10 gauge. I picked this up because it had a little bit more of the yellows. This one came with 15. I think the last set I bought came with like 8 of the yellow, so I wanted to pick up that. It's not very often that I use the yellow or the red and white, especially the white. I've used some of the red, a lot of the blue, and a lot of the yellow, so I wanted to pick this up. It's a different brand than I was running before, but the only thing that really seems to be different is on my other set, the heat shrink or the clear portion is more of a transparent plastic. You can see it's almost clear instead of where this one has a haze on. We will see how that performs. I've owned 2 or 3 different brands, and they all seem to do, basically the same. The first set I bought, it was a little bit harder to get the solder to melt before the heat shrink was destroyed, but I also started off trying to use a lighter using these. You don't want to do that. You want to use a heat gun, and these things are fantastic. You got watertight seals in here, heat shrink, and then the solder there. It makes for a nice, great connection and a great seal as well. It just looks clean, and you got a much better connection than your standard butt connector that I showed you just a second ago. So this is the one I am trying out next. This is a 200 piece set, and it ran me $9. It has a list price of $24. Don't buy it at that. There are so many different brands that are constantly doing sales on these. You can get huge sets, the 270 and 330, 350, 400 piece sets, all the way up to just this brand has a 600 piece set for $35. Then last up, as far as accessories, is something that I have purchased for my winch, but you can use this in multiple different scenarios, whether you're doing, you want to do a battery disconnect on your vehicle without doing like a quick disconnect switch. If you want to actually be able to just quick disconnect the battery or anything like that, these work great. Winches, any larger accessories that you may want to install on the vehicle, this is fantastic. You simply run your larger like 4 gauge wiring to your lugs here, and these lugs just simply click in place in here, and once they're in, if you want to remove them again, you have to go through the front. But it also has a couple mounting locations, so you can mount this on a panel or anything like that. And I bought a pack of 4, so it's literally just these 2 and another 2, and so they just simply slide together like so and complete the connection. Just make sure you match your ends, obviously, and then they come with rubber boots for when they're not in use. You can simply put the rubber caps over them, so if I'm not using my winch, I'll be able to just disconnect it towards the battery, and then I won't have to worry about this making contact with anything or anything like that, or possibly accidentally leaving on the solenoid and draining my battery or anything like that. I can make sure that it's not going to happen by having it disconnected from the system. I will say though, with these, you're not going to be able to use your standard, if you follow my channel, your standard like larger plier crimpers or hammer crimper. These are extremely heavy duty, and you're most likely going to need a hydraulic crimper for this, or a hand hydraulic crimper, which you can pick up for around $50, I believe, whether you pick it up at Harbor Freight or Amazon or whatnot. Just keep in mind that your standard style larger crimpers for larger gauges isn't going to work great for these, just because of how heavy duty these lugs are. For the set of 4, not just these 2, for the set of 4 it was 25 bucks. Next up, picked up a couple products from Lowe's because I was doing a custom intake, ram intake on my Camaro. I needed a 3 1/4 inch hole saw, which I have hole saws, but nothing this large. I think the largest one I had was 2.5, and I needed at least a 3 inch, so I went and picked up this. This is my first time trying the Spyder brand, and this was, I believe, $17 for this 3 1/4 inch hole saw, and then this was, I believe, $20, and this is their quick chuck or quick release. So obviously, just like this is definitely a little bit nicer than my other one. Just simply pull this tab here, put this on here, tighten it down, release, and now it's locked in. I like the spring load, but it does have, I got the high-speed steel drill bit. They had a couple different options, but this is designed to remove, whether you're working with wood, metal, whatnot. A lot of the times when you use hole saws, you get that material jammed up in the actual hole saw, which you can just simply press this button and you can basically force that material out of the hole saw, and then you have your locking collar here. So if you just release that button, pull it in, locks it in place. And I use this to cut out the 2 of the 3-inch, 3 1/4 inch holes, and it did really well. First time using Spyder. Now this isn't something I'm going to be using all that often, but it definitely worked well. And let me know your guys' experiences with Spyder. And then last up, with all the wiring I do, I used to have a set of these and ended up losing them when I moved back in 2017. I don't know where they went. I just had a knockoff brand, but decided to pick up another pair of Ratcheting crimpers. I probably have 6 or 7 different styles of crimpers because I like pairs where you got the stripping portion on top, crimping on bottom, and then crimping on top, stripping on bottom. And then I have some that are just strictly crimping or just strictly stripping. I didn't have anything like this after I lost my last set, so I decided to pick up another set. There are a couple brands out there that make a USA made version, but they are quite expensive. I think they're around $170. This is around $30. You can catch it on sale sometimes for maybe $26 or so. This one is not made in the USA like a lot of the other Klein tools that I own, but I still think it's a good pair. There's not a whole lot of abuse that goes on to these, and they work just fine. So I'll be using this with my new connectors that I showed you in order to redo the toggle setup. But you have a release tab here that you just simply press and it opens. There you can see it's got color coding, and you just simply drop your crimp in and you ratchet it down, and then to release, kind of squeeze and then hold that again, opening it up, creating a nice clean crimp on that, much better than your singular crimper that you find on a lot of the cheaper just standard crimpers. And this ratcheting one just works really nicely. So I picked that up, thought it was a good deal. I should have probably picked one up 2 years ago, maybe even more. But that is it as far as today's video. Once again, I'll try and have all of these products linked down in the description for you guys, as well as those 2 additional links. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below of your guys' thoughts on some of these products, or if you own some of them and your experiences with them. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.